Hey everyone, Souls Guy here, and today I want to give you guys an introduction on the powers of the red-hilted halberd. Most people know that it has the perseverance weapon art and you can poise through things with it, but that's really not the best thing about it. It's got massive range, the damage on it isn't bad, and the hitbox is very delayed and it lingers. It sticks around after the animation is over. See that? The attack clearly hit him, and he thought the hitbox was dead, and then you see the damage pop up. So using this massive range and strange, delayed, lingering hitbox, as long as you're hitting with a, I wouldn't say max range R1, but a nice, well-spaced R1, where you're going to be getting a two-hit combo off that. Your second R1 isn't too far away to combo. See, like right here. 1, 2, step forward, 3. So when you hit him with that distance for the first R1, you don't have to always take the second R1. So you have a couple options. When you hit him with that well-spaced R1, you put him into what I would refer to as a tech chase. What is a tech chase? A tech chase is where you have somebody who can't move. Alright, so you hit him with that R1, they're locked. You can hit him with a second R1, but you don't. You hit him with the first R1, and you wait to see what they do. See that guy, I hit him with one R1, and he kind of just walked around. He did not roll. He did not attack. He just walked in a circle. So that gives me some knowledge. I'm making a read based off what this guy's doing. I take 2 R1s, and he didn't roll, so I take 3 R1s. Roll catch. Perfect example of a tech chase. He decided to do the same thing that he did before, and he paid the price. So continuing on with the tech chase strategies here, hit him with one R1, and you can hit him with another R1. If they roll into you, you can roll catch their R1 with a simple delayed attack. Now he has to roll into me because I have more range than him. His best attack is that rolling R1. Now if I ever make a mistake, like right here, he basically just threw the fight away because he did 3 R1s. So more into the tech chase. We hit him with one R1. We can hit him with a second R1. We can wait and roll catch him with an R2. We can, if we're using it one-handed, we can R1 and then read for a parry. We can R1 and roll or run backstab. That's the thing with this weapon because it's kind of slow and you have to make sure that the weapon can combo, right? So it has to have enough hit stun on the R1 to combo into another R1. So using this hit stun in the right range, you can hit them with one R1, and if they decide to do an R1 when you run backstab, you'll take the damage from the swing, but still get the backstab. Now this is very situational, and I don't use this all the time because, number one, it would be kind of lame to only backstab people. But so just know that that's an option from the tech chase. If you hit them with one R1, the hit stun is very large, and you can follow up with that however you please. And one of those ways, if they do an R1, is to do a run backstab and trade damage for a backstab. Now, if they roll into you, you can roll catch them with an R1 because that works. Or you can do what's called backstab roll, which means they're rolling into you, and you basically run around them as they're rolling towards you, and you backstab them to roll catch them. So the main times you're going to want to use this is when somebody is rolling into you, right? Now, why would somebody be rolling into you? If your weapon is long, getting closer to somebody is generally, sometimes it can be a better strategy than trying to outspace it from afar, especially when it has a massive, strange, lingering hitbox like the red-hilted halberd. So this guy, I've noticed he is doing a lot of aggressive rolling, and there's a lot of fucking stupid people calling me on my shitty phone. So he's rolling towards me almost every time, unless it's just to get out of the way of an attack. Right there, he goes for a backstab. Now, if I would have done 2 R1s, he probably would have got that backstab. But you see, I'm not dumb. I'm not going to do 2 R1s unless I need to do 2 R1s. That's part of the main strategy, is doing 1 R1 and then seeing what they do. There he goes. He went for it again, but didn't even get a grab that time. And bang, you don't roll into people, because you can do that basically every time. It's not hard to do that. And if they do an attack, it's even easier. So that's one of the things you can do. You know, if they roll towards you, you can backstab their roll. If they, obviously a straight sword guy here, he probably is going to hit R1 because that's the best thing that he pretty much can do at any time. So you hit him with an R1, we hit at the same time. Nobody has priority on speed. So if he hits R1 and I hit parry at the same time, I'm going to parry him. So that's what I did. And that is also another incredibly good follow-up. Now, speaking more into parrying, because I don't like parry spamming. I think if you hit parry even once every single fight, like you're not making the game very fun. But that got me to thinking, right? Parrying is, as most people would consider, a gamble, right? You think that you're going to get it, but do you ever really know? Well, sometimes I guess you can't technically know, but you have a very good read and the read pays off. But let's look at all the weapons and attacks and even rolling in the game as a gamble, right? A risk. So let's say you're using a straight sword. It has very fast R1s that have very good range, and they also have very good tracking, and it's a good animation. It goes left to right in a sweeping motion, so it covers a lot of ground, and it combos. So R1 combos into R1, which if you also take another gamble after the first two R1s, you can roll catch with the R2 poke. And what that's doing is it's taking an incredibly low risk attack like the straight sword one-handed R1 and transforming it into a 3-hit combo that did a lot of damage, right? Now, as you can see, that sounds pretty good, right? That sounds like a pretty low-risk, high-reward kind of play style. And that is why you see weapons like that at the top of the tier list. That's why people consider those weapons to be the best. Now, if you take a weapon like an Ultra Greatsword, right? It's slow as shit. Like, if you don't attack, you can always dodge every single attack that they do. It's a very high-risk move for a high-reward payoff, right? If you get hit by 2 R1s from an Ultra Greatsword, your health bar is gonna be destroyed. You're gonna be, me personally, I'm probably at 75% health, something roughly around that point. Just for making one mistake, right? Now, what does that bear resemblance to? Parrying, right? It is a move that you have to guess what your opponent's going to do. An Ultra Greatsword. If you just R1, delay R1, delay R1, delay R1, and somebody attacks you in your hyper armor frames, you're going to get 2 R1s, which is going to do a lot of damage. Now, let's say I instead of using an Ultra Greatsword, I'm just going to parry. That's all I'm going to do. Now, I can't physically do any damage with the parry tool. It doesn't do damage when you hit parry. But if they hit me during my active frames, I'm going to parry them, right? Which allows me to follow up with a massive damage attack. Now, look at that. That wasn't even 75%. And this guy's using a weapon that if he hits me, he's going to do more than that. And all he has to do is keep hitting R1 until he tricks me and I R1 into him. So people need to understand that just like parrying, every single animation you can do in this game is a gamble. If you roll at somebody, that's risky. If you R1 and whiff, that is risky. If you do anything other than not attacking, it is risky. So why would we attack? Why would we do things? It's because we think that they're going to work. Just like your opponent, when he goes to do something, he has an idea that what he's going to do is going to work. So how do you know it's going to work? Well, sometimes you guess, and that's what the gamble is. You think it's going to work, but you don't really know. So keep that in mind for everybody that just absolutely hates parrying. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about parry spamming or somebody that parries 11 times in a fight. In general, that's just retarded, and that's not fun either. That's like fighting somebody with the split leaf greatsword, I guess it's called. It's like a glaive, but Like I get a little caught up here. But anybody that's got those massive damage weapons, you know, they buff them, and if they hit you 2 times, you're pretty much gonna die. You don't need to do that. It's not a necessity. And if you think about it, it's really the same thing. Any weapon that has hyper armor that you can't really interrupt with the weapon that you have, every time they're doing a staggered R1 and you're not anywhere near them, every time you do an attack and they do an R1 and they don't land it, it's the same thing in my opinion as parry spamming, but you're just doing R1s instead of a parry. If they land, they're going to follow up with a second R1, right? And that's going to do 50% of your health, right? It's fucking the same thing. So I just felt like talking about that a little bit because it's interesting to realize that it doesn't matter what weapon you're using, everything that you're doing is a risk. It is a bet. You're betting that you're going to be able to do something based off of a hit that you don't know is going to land yet. So you can go high risk, high reward, R1, say I'm almost positive I got that R1, and then take a second R1 or one of the various tech chase follow-ups that I've discussed already. And you can punish the shit out of people with this weapon. And that's the main thing I like about it. It doesn't require me to play all lame and do some crazy, like, I'm just going to run away the whole time. I'm just getting in my weapons range over and over again and trying to well-time what my opponent's going to do based off of what I see them doing. That was a nice wait. He rolled in, which a lot of people would have tried to parry the roll attack, but I knew that guy wasn't that dumb. So I waited for him to stand up and do his R1. Now this is another example right here of things that I don't like in this game, right? I'm going to be 100% real with everybody. I hate all of the weapons that have a R1, L2, R2 combo on them. I'm sorry if you disagree with my opinion, but it is my opinion and I am certainly entitled to it after playing these games as much as I have. It makes the game too simple for people to break down. If all you have to do is land one R1 to do 50 bajillion damage, then why is anyone playing the game a different way? Why is anyone doing anything different? It makes no sense. If I can use Gale's Greatsword, and I can hit one R1 and then hit L2 R2 or whatever it is, I don't use the shit, and almost kill somebody instantly off of one mistake, then why the fuck am I not putting on a goddamn Hornet Ring with the Chaos Dagger and I just fucking hit L2 anytime you can do any attack ever? That's essentially the exact same thing, like however you break it down. It's actually harder to do it with a parry, to be real, because the parry has no damaging portion of the animation. All you can do is predict an attack and hope it lands at the right time. You're not doing any damage. It's not like you're doing a parry, doing a parry, doing a parry, and somebody walks up to you and does an attack and you hit them with a 2-hit combo that does 50% of their health. Now, I'm not just hating on Gale's Greatsword. I don't like it, but I'm not hating on it. There's also, you know, all of the curved greatswords, the split leaf greatsword. There's tons of weapons that have that L2 R2 from R1 combo. And I think that it's just autopilot. It's just so basic in mentality. For me, I just never could do it because it just felt bad every single time. I'm much more comfortable and I enjoy it much more to let somebody get totally manipulated and have to hit them over and over again. Like right there, this dude was thirsty for the parry. He was parry spamming the shit out of me last match. So he gets what he deserves, and that's what I prefer the most. So here we go. We got a katana guy. That's like the 8th person today tried to katana parry me, and let me tell you, no one was successful. And there you go. See, that's a fun game. It's not fun when people do that. That was a 500 damage counter hit. Oh, get swagged on. But yeah, I've been having fun. I took a large break from the game because of the overall community opinion on a lot of things. It's not, in my opinion, what Dark Souls is all about. And again, that is my opinion. That is not the truth, or, you know, it doesn't really matter how I feel about the game. I'm just trying to give you guys insight onto how I play and what I enjoy. And one thing, for example, is the red hilted halberd. For all of the things mentioned before at this point, it's just really fun to play. It gives you that. See, this guy, what a G. He is spacing me like a boss. He's doing second swings that I don't predict. But now you see he brought out that small shield and gave me a R1 that was not two-handed, which has no range. Now I see a baited R2. I'm like, come on, he's going to try to parry me. He's going to try to parry. Switches to the dagger, quick steps towards me. Just threw the game away. And that happens so much, it's not even funny. Anything, like I would say great sword and faster. That's so, like, it's every fight. Now this guy, I just beat him the match before this, and you know how you can go R1 helicopter. That's all I do right there. Poise, R1, R1. And you know, that doesn't feel great either, but when somebody is trying to do the 75-85% of my health with one hit confirmed into some baloney, I will do that every single time. I don't care. That does not bother me one bit. Now this guy, let's see what he's going to do. R1, L2, R2. Woohoo! That guaranteed damage off of one hit. Which, you know, honestly, if I get hit by an Ultra, I deserve to take damage. But if they're going to do that 1,000 times in one fight, put on the cestus, put on the fucking, the buckler, and just hit L2 like any time I could ever attack. And it's the exact same thing. And if you mess up and attack during their active frames, you will take damage. And look at that. That's the best spell in the entire game. That will make me not even play this game. If somebody only does that, I will just set the controller down. Again, my opinion. So, all the ranged attacks I've been using have obviously made this guy mad. He doesn't like that, and you know, so he switches to a faster weapon than mine. And then look, that didn't work out, so we're gonna switch back to the old R1, L2, R1. Oh, look at that. You could just say, fuck that. I'm not dealing with that. That's another great thing about the weapon. Obviously, it's got the perseverance. I like the perseverance. Now, one thing that I've been doing in the arena lately is, you know, this is a place to fight. I don't use buffs. I don't use Tears of a Casual. I don't use Super Regen 5000 with the rings and the Blessed Shield and all that shit. I use what I have when I start the fight. If I want to change weapons right at the beginning of the fight, I go into my menu and I change weapons, right? And I use that weapon the whole time. Unless they decide they need to keep switching weapons, then I'll start switching weapons out of principle. But that's my personal style. If you want to change weapons 10 times, if you want to buff your weapon, if you want to do some shit, I'm not going to let you do it for free. The second the match starts, I'm sprinting directly across, and you have time for one buff before I get to you. If you try to cast Dark Moon Blade and some regen buff, I'm going to hit you. And you're going to take damage for casting 2 buffs. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm not going to give people the opportunity to control the flow of the game how they want it. It's just, that's not smart. You should never give your opponent anything that they want. If anything, you should take their plan and throw as many little tricks and shitty things in their way so they don't get what they want and they get frustrated. Because most of the time, people that are frustrated play a lot worse. Thanks for watching, guys.